Well, hello everybody, welcome to Shutters and Speed. Today we've got a real treat in store because my good friend John here has allowed us to have a look at this classic bike. It is a Suzuki GT750, as you can probably see, but we'll go into that in a bit more detail. But I'd just like to say that I'm hoping to do one or two more of these as the year progresses, so hopefully that'll be okay and that'll come on stream. But this is the first, so bear with us if it isn't if it isn't quite perfect. So I'd just like to introduce to my good friend John here. He is the owner of this magnificent machine, and I thought what we would do is initially have a quick chat with John about it. So John, how did you first acquire this beast?
It's an American import. It was imported by one of the British importers of bikes. We bought it off them, DK Motorcycles in Stafford. Really, we bought one or two bits and pieces off them before. Always been fairly honest and reliable. The bike shows is only doing 5,000 miles. They do not guarantee that, to be fair to them, but what I suspect it is. It had the original tyres on the bike, it had the original brake pads in it. Most of the bike is still original. There's odd bits and pieces we have done to the bike, but essentially this is as it came. It's had a bit of cleaning up, a lot of cleaning up in various places, but essentially it is a genuine bike as it came. So that's how I acquired it.
So what have you done to it since you've had it then, would you say?
It'd been in California,
right,
as a lot of these imports have. It got the seat cover had perished, the tank was faded, so the tank and the side panel's been painted. It's had a new seat cover on it, it's had some new tyres on it, really because the tyres were old. I have kept the old ones because they are the original ones and they're not worn out, but I wouldn't want to ride on them. Outside of that, what you see is basically as it came.
Right, okay. So is it sort of something you ride pretty much every day, or is it just a? I know you mentioned earlier before we start this that you've got two of these. So is this and the other one I think is the slightly, what's the word, posher one? Is that the right word?
the other one's probably over restored.
Yeah.
It was one that I bought 10 years ago probably, and was my introduction to GTs. It had several bits and pieces that weren't very good on it, which I didn't realise when I bought it. Spent a fortune on it, but it probably is quite a show bike now, where this bike I consider to be something that I can use and do use. I would never call it daily transport because I don't need to ride a motorbike every day, but if I wanted to go out tomorrow night and it was raining, I would go on it, and that's what I like about it. It is good, but it is usable, and I do go anywhere we go, and I do go on it.
Well, that's great, yeah. So what have you got any plans for it in the future, or other than to keep it as it is and just maintain it as is, so to speak?
When I bought it, I probably intended to do the full strip and do everything. I've bought lots of bits for it. I've got new rims for it, I've got new mudguards for it, I've got some exhausts. Exhausts for these are unobtainable. I have got another set of pipes that I'm playing with at the moment too, which I cut them open and take the dints out of them and then weld them back together and have them chromed up, which I'm lucky I'm able to do. Most people don't do that, but it is something that I've done on my other one, and it's quite successful. Nobody's ever noticed they've been done on the other one. And I'm collecting the bits to do this should I ever need to do it, but as it is at the moment, I think it's nice having it with its original patina. It is in pretty good shape really, and I think I probably, until I get probably retired, and if I'm looking for something better to do, I might do it, but I've got the bits if I need to.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant. I think the current trend at the moment is for something like this, which is usable, tidy, usable. I mean, it's more than tidy, it's fantastic in actual fact, in my opinion, for a bike that's
45, 46 year old.
Yeah, exactly. It's in wonderful nick, and that's the current trend. Because like you said earlier, some people do tend to over restore things, don't they? And they're so pristine that's unreal.
And probably my other one is guilty of that.
Well, that's brilliant. So. We've had a brief introduction into the GT750 in front of us here, so it's all very well having a look at it and see what it's like to look at, but how does it ride? Well, let's find out. So, in answer to the question, how does the GT750 ride? Well, so far so good, I have to say. It pulls along here really nicely, seems to handle okay, and it's a really nice ride, I've got to say. I'm enjoying it immensely. It's a beautiful day out here at Sutton Bridge. We're alongside the river, and it's a really nice day. And what a day to be out on a classic bike such as this. I have to say, it just purrs along beautifully. John mentioned in the introduction that you know, this is you might find it a bit different to what you're used to, but I have to say I'm finding this very nice. It's the sort of bike that you immediately get the idea that you could happily jump on and ride a long way without any problem at all. Really nice. Suspension is nice and soft. You know, for a bike of this type, you're not going to go racing too much on it. And it does have a fair turn of speed, let's be honest. Absolutely. Yeah, the comfort is there. There's very little vibration, and everything seems to work as it should. Yes, this has been a very enjoyable experience, I've got to say. Very easy to use gearbox, very snickable. I mean, I don't doubt that, you know, over time it's wore itself in. I mean, the thing that I'm used to riding is fairly new and is still quite clunky at times, but this just snicks into gear beautifully. Absolutely wonderful. It's only sort of whetting my appetite to maybe own something like this myself one day. Really enjoyable. You don't feel as though you've got to go too quick. You can just amble along and take in the views. Fantastic. So I'm really enjoying this ride, and I hope you are too, because this is a good insight into classic motorcycling. I'm very fortunate that I've got to know quite a few people that seem to own these things, and I'm hoping obviously to do 1 or 2 videos in the future where we meet up with these classic bikes and have a bit of fun and show them to you, because, you know, this is part of my heritage, my growing up. I can remember back in the late 70s and early 80s when we were riding around on fizzies and 250s, and, you know, the lads who were a bit older than us would come into town on their GT750s, CB750s, and we would be looking up to them with awe. You know, they were like gods to us because they came along on these beautiful machines. And I still sort of hanker after that today, really. Even though what I ride now is probably, you know, superior, I suppose, in everything, but it doesn't alter the fact that I still really love looking at these things and just taking it all in. And it's also nostalgic, you know. You know, you really do just enjoy the ride and enjoy looking at it. It's fantastic. There's an amazing amount of lack of vibration in the mirrors as well. It's really quite good. Yes, it handles pretty well on these bends too, let me tell you. Really quite nice. Fantastic. The one thing I have noticed riding on the way back to where we meet is the wind blast. You certainly notice the wind on your chest more on a naked sort of bike. But, you know, like I said earlier, you're not going to go around on something like this at 90, 100 miles an hour. You know, this is the sort of bike that you're just going to cruise around and enjoy the views. What a lovely day to be out. The thing I can't get over about this, I mean, I've had quite a lot of work done to the suspension on my bike, and yet this one seems so plush. It's, you know, riding the bumps really nicely. It doesn't feel wallowy, and, you know, it's all going along really well. And of course when you sort of, you know, turn on the taps, you've still got a fair bit of speed, which is absolutely brilliant. This is the culmination really of a boyhood dream. I saw these GT750s, like I said, back in the day, and I never thought, I didn't think I'd ever get the chance to ride one, and here I am today living the dream. Isn't that fantastic? Absolutely brilliant. I can see now why there are so many people out there collecting these old beasts, and you know, they're actually looking after our motorcycling heritage. You know, the one thing that I heard recently was that you're not owners, you're merely custodians. And what we're doing, or what these guys who've got these bikes are doing, is that they're looking after them and making sure they're there for future generations to enjoy. And what a fantastic thing to do. You know, somebody somewhere, this thing will go on for probably another 50 years, and somebody somewhere will probably still be enjoying it then in the same way as I am now. I think the only thing that I would say has improved immeasurably when you compare this to what I ride now, the brakes. John did warn me that the brakes are a bit iffy, and he was right. They're a bit sort of throw an anchor at the back, but they do the job, so it's not too bad, but they are a little bit wanting compared to modern machinery, I think. Well, I have to say that was fantastic, John. I thoroughly enjoyed that ride out. That was really quite something. I take what you were saying about be careful, because that's probably not anything like you've been used to riding yourself, but bearing that all in mind, that was still an entertaining ride, I have to say. So,
a different experience.
yeah. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for taking the time to show us your bike, and I hope that maybe we can do one or two more in the future. But I'd just like to say, thank you very much for bringing it out. I've enjoyed it, and I hope you lot at home have as well. So this is Shutters and Speed signing off for now. So it's goodbye from John.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me, and we'll see you next time. Bye!